Hey everyone, it's me coming on strong. Hope you guys are doing well, feeling blessed no matter where you are. So I just got this inspiration to come on today to make a video, make a video. So I decided today I was going to talk about something that a lot of us face. And if you clicked on the video, you too are a spiritual brother or sister out there that is in the single zone, okay? So I'm going to talk about dating in the spiritual community, and I'm going to be talking about things that maybe we should be looking out for. And realistically, I'm going to give you the pros and the cons, okay? Because as someone who, one of my patrons asked me, what happens when our chakras come on? And one of the things that we have to talk about is that when we get our sacral chakra on and we're using it for being more creative, right? We channel all of that sexual energy a different way. And a lot of us end up realizing that we can't be with the run of the norm. I don't know about you guys, but I've been single for about 2 years now. Now, I must preface this by saying that the old me, the version of me before I started ascending, much like you guys, I was out and about. I was always out, checking out at parties, going to places, going to raves, going to bars, going to anywhere, travel, what name you. And I noticed that, like most of us, there wasn't this understanding that we had to protect our energy. And the thing is that as we ascend, the more powerful we become. So it makes it harder and harder to kind of mix in with people. It makes it harder and harder to communicate with people. And by all means, please know that there are a lot of people saying that they're spiritual and of light, but really they're just fake artists. Like I'd like to say, like you could walk into any place and you're like, oh my God, I do yoga 5 times a week and I meditate and I. And I'm not trying to put down people that do yoga or meditate, but what I'm trying to say is that sometimes it's more of a put on, because realistically it's like a bandwagon that people want to be a part of, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you'll notice that if you're a high vibing individual, you can't really mesh your energy with everybody and anyone. So here's a couple things I want to point out. You're going to notice that if you are past the point of sacral chakra opening, and as you elevate in your chakra system, you're going to know that there's a lot of persons that you click with, and then there's people that you don't. And that is by design. Now, there is this understanding. A lot of people talk about twin flames, soulmates, etc. And we must talk about this because most of us don't realize that twin flame or not, soulmates are forever real. And it doesn't have to be someone who is destined to be in love with you. They can love you as a friend. They can love you as a foe. They can love you as a family member or just a distant stranger in the night. Realistically, soulmates are contracted to be in your life to teach you something. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be in love with your soulmate. So we have to take that out of consideration when you are on a spiritual journey, that for most of us, we are emanating a frequency. That is what it is. Like you're emanating one, I'm emanating one, we're all emanating different frequencies. And what I mean by frequencies, if you think about it, like every item in this planet in matter is giving off a frequency. It means that there's a hertz associated with the eminence of ourselves. So this works on all levels. So you have to understand that as you're ascending, you're gonna change. I would say elevate, because the thing is that you could have a singular frequency, but you can heighten that frequency as you go up. Because what that means is, like, let's say, for example, you have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, right? You have the chords, and you can understand that all of those individual chords can go to a higher vibration. They can go to a higher note. But it doesn't mean that you're not a fa or you're not a do. It just means that your do can go do and it can go higher. So the thing is that you yourself emanate a certain frequency, but that frequency can rise. in terms of, let's say, a clef frequency for long. You may not stay at the same eminence of frequency for long. So it is really trying when you are in a spiritual world to start realizing that you may be single for some time. I myself have been single. I myself have gone out there. I've gone to, let's say, dating apps. I've done dating apps. I've done mixers. I've gone traveling. I've gone out to bars, karaoke, bowling, name it. I've done it. And what I've noticed is that there are very few and far between persons, ergo even men, that I can even mesh with or click with. And even if they are spiritual folk, it still doesn't mean we're on the same level. It doesn't mean that we're at the same vibrance. It doesn't mean we're vibing at the same frequency. And I'm not saying that you have to meet someone who's exactly like you. Far be it for me to say that. Actually, you just have to find one of a frequency that meshes with you. So here are some things that might be a little interesting for you to know. You don't want to be sharing yourself from a energetic standpoint with anybody. Like, I know, and I speak for myself, when I was younger, when I was in my dating phases of existence previous to this one, I would go out and I'd meet people and I'd be like, oh, this guy's hot, that guy's hot, let's just link up, let's exchange numbers, let's do that. And now it's like as if you have your guides and your higher self saying, nay, 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 nay. Because there's something about the perseverance of your particular energy that is so important. So you must understand that that is one of the hills you have to climb. That if you are to be this great eminence of light, that you must agree and understand that you may have to go it alone for some time. And I bet you a lot of you are alone. And some of you have found your tribes, and some of you have already met your other half. And you know what? Kudos to you. And if you have, please jump on, send some messages. Let's talk about it, because a lot of people out there are wondering, where is my other half? Where is this person I'm destined to be with? And it's not even just about destined. Contracted to be with is a better way of putting it, because realistically, if you think about the way Almighty works, and if you do understand God is both woman and man, female and masculine, and there's this understanding that you yourself have to balance the female and the masculine, and it is very understood that this is the case for all of us that are ascending. So it is going to be a part of your life that you may be it alone, but at the same time, it's because you're elevating to a level that you need to get to. And once you get to that eminence of totality, then I believe that's when you mesh with your partner to be. And in my books, I think what's been really hard for me is that I'm not someone that can succumb to small favors anymore. You'll notice as you rise in your own frequency, as you rise in your own providence, right? You won't fall suit to all of the other versions of past self that you were. Like, for example, most of us empaths out there tended to always gravitate towards narcissists. And this is also by design, because a narcissist can really show an empath true worth, true understanding of self, and to actually fight for everything that you are. So in a sense, those narcissists were equally contracted to your life existence. And I know you're going to get like, no, they're horrible people. But the thing is that when you do get into relationships with narcissists, they catapult you into your providence. They catapult you into your sovereignty. And they catapult you into a place of being, of knowing the I am better than you ever did before. Because when you're with a narcissist, you are scratching your way out of that relationship. You're like, I will get out of this. And you fight for everything that you are. So that's the type of character that will be contracted into your life purpose, so that you can find who you truly are, so you can find your own solidarity and your prosperity. Now, another thing I do have to mention is that should you be dating another light worker, there are some things you might want to look out for. Because, for example, like sometimes us light workers, because we're so exuberant, we may have a hard time meshing. And I say this because a lot of us will realize as time goes on, especially if you get all the chakras on, that you start to being a little telepathic with people. Like, I know for myself, if I think about somebody, that person's calling me within the hour, within 2 hours the most. And I notice that I can do that, now. I think about my friend Cara. I think about my friend Elise. I think about my friend Chris. Everyone just starts calling me. And you can play around with that telepathy with your friends and family to develop it, but that's what you get to. But realistically, you get even more involved, especially when you have somebody who's contracted to you, because you guys will feel each other's energy from the get. You'll feel like I always feel like somebody's watching me. And that's the feeling that most of us have as starseeds or as chosens, because realistically, you and your contracted person are only already very well aware of each other. Like for myself, I truly feel like I have this type of thing, but my other side doesn't want to even realize that I exist. And I totally get it. I mean, we're at different stages of our lives. I know there's ebbs and flows. I know that if I'm sick, they're sick. I know if I'm in high vibe, they're in high vibe. I know that if I'm down and out, they're down and out. Like, it's kind of a telepathic cohesion, symbiotic relationship that you can't really kick. And a lot of you might know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, there is this understanding that when you're in commune with another starseed, or when you're in commune with another light worker, let's just keep it at that, okay? It's like, it's going to be a little more tricky than the average relationship, because the two of you are going to have competing, even though you're cohesive, competing energies, because you haven't really coalesced, okay? Let's just put it that way. So you'll notice things that you may feel like you're always being watched, and you do have to understand that, let's say, for example, you, like I said, you're one vibrance, right, that grows in an evolution. But let's say your partner's in a higher evolution and you're in a lower evolution. Not that you're lower, like you're in the, lower dimensions. What I'm trying to say is that maybe, and that can fluctuate, right? You might be great at some things and that person might be great at some things. And some of the things that they might be great at is things like remote viewing. So the thing is, I will say this again, if you are very well aware of the other half of yourself, if you think about them 24/7, it's because they're thinking of you 24/7. And if you want to remote view them, you better believe that they're going to know that you're knocking, knock, knock, knock on their door. So there's this understanding that if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then maybe this video isn't for you. But realistically, that's another thing. You can remote view your other half, and they can remote view your other half. You know what I'm saying? You'll commune a lot in dream time, and sometimes your other half won't even know that you know that they're in your dream. You know what I'm saying? Because again, they think they're higher elevated, but at the same time, you guys are kind of both elevated. But you got to understand that if you're seeing your other half in a dream, it's probably because you guys are working on mission together, or it could be that your other half thinks that you don't know. But there is something that you can do in a dream, and that's to kind of be like a fly on the wall of your own actual avatar within one of the dimensional selves that your other half is spying on. And then you can know if your other half is spying on you. It just is what it is. It's such a different world when you're a spiritual person in a relationship, or especially a contracted relationship. Because the thing is that remote viewing without permission isn't great, and to demean your partner that way isn't great either. But a lot of us are still humano, so we like to spy and we like to be cute. But at the same time, it's like, to undermine your partner is not cool. But that can happen. Also, sometimes you'll notice that there's people, or if you're somebody who likes to future project, and you're good with the subconscious, and you actually like to see your playouts of your future projections, you might catch your other half spying on you there too. And then they might not think that that they're doing it, but you do know. And it's like, oh my gosh, we both know what's going on type of thing. But at the same time, they may not make you aware of it. So if you are in one of these awkward distant yet not so distant relationships. It's like I said, you feel like you have a other half on you all the time that you can telecommunicate with, that you can actually see all the time and is in your dreams and you do missions with. It gets a little confusing because maybe in the 3D you guys haven't coalesced, as I like to put it. So there is no reprieve for this. Only time will tell. And at times, what you must understand is that if you haven't coalesced in the 3D, there could be some form of vampirism on either side. Because the thing is that, let's say, for example, you're well aware of it and the other person isn't well aware of it, or they deny it, whatever the case may be, or they're for it. You don't know where they are in their spiritual journey as well. There might be some chord that the two of you share where you guys could be vampiring energy back and forth, back and forth. Like I said, that whole, if they're thinking of you, then you're thinking of them type of thing. But really and truly, it depends on what you're thinking about. If you're sending them light and love, that's great. If you're sending them, jealousy and animosity, not so great. But again, this is love. It gets confusing. It gets hairy. It gets a little trippy out there if you're a spiritual creature like myself. So the thing is that you got to be a little more mindful of what you're thinking, especially when it has to do with your other half. And for those of you out there that have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm sorry. But for those of you that do know what I'm talking about, welcome to the club. Because realistically, going out into the regular world trying to date is one of the most ridiculous exhibits of shows that I've ever seen. Because I can go out to any place and I can be the healer that I am and correspond, but at the same time, I know that I'm only a shoe that fits on one foot, or a sock that fits on one foot type of thing. So I know that there is someone out there for me, and I know there's someone out there for you, because you have to understand is that is the faith of the glory that is our Almighty God. God did not want us to be separated. God did not want us to be solo, especially for everything that's coming in our way the next little while. It's really going to be a testament to what our contracts did provide. And what I will say this about spiritual connections as well, is that you never know why you're not connecting in the 3D, because sometimes you guys could be catalyzers for each other for your own growth. Because sometimes in the pain and the suffering of the loneliness or the far awayness, or even you could be with your other half and not know of them and they're around the corner all along. But that thing is that push and that pull, that tug of war that goes on between the two energies, because you guys are linked and you guys are corded to each other. It can wreak havoc on your mental state, your emotional state. And at the same time, what happens is that you could actually catalyze each other for bigger and better things. And that's why you don't meet initially, or even a year in, 5 years in, whatever the case may be. There will come a beautiful, glorious time that God gets you two together. And I know that a lot of you might be like, oh, Ashley, how can you say that? Well, I can honestly say, as someone who's been working in energy for most of my life, most everything that the Lord God has ever told me about or has ever said would come to pass has. So for me, I know that it's only a matter of time till my person comes through the door. So I did have a corny poem. You guys, what I will say is that, always putting out to the universe what you want is never a bad thing. So it's a little bit of a corny poem, so bear with me. But I hope it attracts whoever is the shoe for my foot. So, if it is not him, then who? Who is the he that I seek? Who is the he that seeks me? With the strength of the sun, and the one that is not scared of me. Not the one who tries, who just is. The quagmire set, not just a state, but a place to break free. Holding out for a love that may not be or could not manifest in the 3D that is. I want nothing less than Yeshua in the flesh, or at least one like me from Sirius B, as my birthmark always decreed. The stars do shine brightly right over me. That is the man that I see. Yes, I will admit, I have always had a fascination with Yeshua. I think Yeshua and Mary Magdalene's love story always hit home for me. I'd always thought that there was something so beautiful about it because, no offense, Yeshua probably wouldn't have been the easiest cat to get along with on the block, let alone to be as a partner. And it came with a huge gift and a huge burden all at the same time. So I do put his name in there, but I think it's because I do truly feel that whatever man is set for me, they would have the gumption of Yeshua, they would have the outspokenness of Yeshua, they would have the pride and the glory that comes with everything that is. And why I say Series B is just because I reign from different places in the solar system, but I do have a birthmark that has always pointed to the fact that and the thing is, that was probably the first planet that I was first immersed into. When I was young, I was obsessed, obsessed with reading the Anunnaki. I was obsessed with learning about the Dogma tribe. I was obsessed with Sirius A, Sirius B, and Sirius C. Even though, to the human eye, can't really see it. But I'm saying because I could always see Orion's belt my entire life, I always was so fat, even though there was a whole plethora of stars out there, I always caught myself always looking up to that destination, always and foremost. And even though I do have a higher self that is from that destination, and he's pretty cool, I don't really understand how that all fits into why I feel most familiarized with that place. And like I've said in the past, yes, I believe Yeshua has his ties to Venus, but I also feel like Yeshua has his ties to Series B, A, and C as well, because realistically, I've always thought that that whole thing with the Magi was kind of lining that out, because the three Magi are the three stars of Sirius. And realistically, it was like as if they were ushering him, and they were very well aware that he was to be born. These are the men, supposedly, but we don't know if they're just fictitious creation of, let's say, folklore, so to speak. But just the fact that those three Magi existed at the time of his birth kind of alludes me to the fact that he may also be part of Series B. And there's more to it. The fact that he has the fish symbol, etc., which could, put him in the Aquarius Piscean situation, and where was Pisces in the age of Yeshua type of thing. It all kind of points and alludes. I could go on and on. But what I'm trying to say is that most of you have an idea of who your other half is, even though you may not have found them yet, or they haven't found you. And that's okay, because realistically, we're all in this together. I just wanted to come on and say that because this last month of me being in Mexico was more of like a, I'd go out to all these places, and I would meet all these people, and guys would talk to me, and I was just like, I'm sorry, but I have no interest. And it wasn't because they're ugly guys. It wasn't because they probably weren't amazing people. But it was like my heart didn't flutter at all. And I'm still waiting for that flutter to show up on my doorstep. And I know that whoever gets me is going to be lucky. I might be a headache, or seemingly a headache, but I'm actually one of the coolest chicks to But that's the thing. It's something about my energy has always pushed men away. And it's not so much that I pushed them away. It was because they were never good enough for me, or vice versa. We just weren't the right fit. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is why men always had a hard time. Mind you, I was also very psychic. So I used to be able to tell a guy, hey, who was that broad you were fucking last night? And he'd be like, what are you talking about? And I'd be like, oh, the girl? And I'd describe her, and they'd be like, no, what do you, and then we'd be breaking up a week later, you know what I'm saying? So I know that I could never be with somebody that is just the generic, just like you guys couldn't be with somebody who's just the generic. But I honestly feel like, if anything, this video is me putting out to the algorithms my dating video. I like long walks on the beach. I like swimming in the Ocean. What else is Ashley like? I like candlelit dinners. I like to cook. I hope they like to cook too. What kind? I love combat movies. I love kung fu. I love anything anime. Anything about fighting, I'm in. Okay? If you want to show me some like scary movie, I'm not about it. Okay? And what also I do love is compassion, and it doesn't take much money to, you know, entertain me, because it's not about money, it's about heart. Like, we could literally go for a picnic, and as long as the person's awe-inspiring and has good things to talk about, I'm down. But a lot of, you know, the way the 3D aspects are in this world, we're made to think that money is the motive, you know what I mean? And for myself, like, I actually find that to be a deterrent. I actually think that men that start off like, oh, look at me, look what I got, look at this, and I'm like, yo, bro, you are as small as a friggin' ant in my eyes, you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, I think that's why some men have had a hard time with me, because I'm like, bring me your heart, show me who you are, be honest with me. Ooh, hard one, right? Because I'm actually pretty chill until you lie to me, and then I ain't so chill, because I will literally put somebody in a motherfucking place. Not in a bad way, but just because, like, we're all not here to play games, and we're all not here to be misused. So when people play games with me, it offends me, especially when they and I know you guys know what I'm saying. A lot of us just don't want to be lied to and made to feel like we're insignificant pieces of dust. You know what I'm saying? So realistically, when you want to act like an awkward weirdo, and then you act like as if I'm just like too stupid to figure it out, you know, that really gets my goat. But at the same time, I can always sympathize with every version of self that anyone can really bring forth in front of me. And I'm sure a lot of you realize that as you do your shadow work, you realize a lot of people are wearing these masks, one after another after another. And another thing people don't like about us light workers, we kind of melt those masks off, you know what I'm saying? So it gets a little trickier when you're like some faker raker going out there trying to like woo a light worker. Doesn't really work with us. It really doesn't. Because realistically, I'd rather you tell me all your woes, all your sorrows, all the things that you've gone through. Like, if somebody came up to me and was like, yo, I was a criminal, I was this, I was that, I may not date you, but I respect you. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. A lot of us are looking for this level of respect, and that's the hard part out there. Because we respect ourselves so much now. We know how valuable we are as people. When we know how it is to actually love someone and to respect that love. And in this world that we're facing, with all of us ascending and those that aren't, you know, we just have to brush those people off. They're everywhere we go. But then at the same time too, we have to have spiritual compassion, because it's like you might meet somebody who's just beginning on their journey, and then you might meet people that are like of an older nature, and I don't mean old as in looks, I mean like old souls that look at you like you're a sprite, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's all about respect, and it's all about knowing where your place is. So I just wanted to come on tonight and talk about take over control, take over control. No, I'm in a very good mood these last days. Even though I got back from Mexico, I really feel like something's coming my way. I can feel it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what. I just know that I've been seeing 316 a lot, and it's been really good. Because that number has eluded me for some time. No, it comes in and out. But at the same time, when I see that, I'm like, oh, Yeshua's what? Yeshua's in the house. What? Oh, I'm just being a goof and a nerd right now. And that's another thing. I'm a big nerd. And I am probably some other nerd's wet dream. I will say that. Because I've never watched any of those videos, any of those movies. So whoever I end up with gets to watch me be like a nerd virgin. Except for things like, oh, here's another thing. If you don't watch Star Trek, I'm not about you. If you don't watch sci-fi, I'm not about you. If you don't watch Supernatural, I'm not about you. So I'm just saying, I have my things too, just like everyone else. So for all of you out there, this is my dating video of 2025. Oh, sorry. This is my cousin. If you guys don't know, my cousin has a hilarious YouTube channel called Shaneology, where he does a wicked Skeletor. He does a wicked Skeletor, and he is so funny. So if you, I'm gonna shout out to Shaneology because he's killing it. Like I've been on this channel a couple of years. He's been on his for some time, but he's killing it on his vids, and I totally rep him. So check it out. Wait a second. I was about to get off this video, and I said, "Fuck it. I'm gonna do some cards," because everyone gets about me about these cards, okay? And you know what? You know what I say to that? I say, this is a talk about love, so I'm gonna do some love cards. How about them apples? Bet you weren't expecting that. I haven't done some cards in some time. You could tell that I'm about to, you know, here I am. I just wanted to fucking hang out. You know what I'm saying? I spend a lot of time, not just at home. I go out a lot, you know. I get to know the peeps, you know. But it's very few and far between that I'm, you know, I go swimming, I go to the gym, I go to soirees, I do my biz. But I haven't had a heart deep down talk, nitty gritty talk about everything with an individual in a very long time. I kind of feel like that turtle from Neverending Story. We're tired of not speaking to others from our part of the galaxy. It's been tough. It's been tough, but I've been to so many conferences. I've been to so many things. I don't meet anybody like me. It's just so aggravating, you know? Meet all these sweethearted little so-and-sos, but at the same time, I don't get into deep talks about Jack, Jilly, Do. And then when there are people that are on my level, they dismiss me. So it's like, well then, I guess we're just not at the same level now, are we? And I didn't even think light workers could dismiss other people, because I thought they were supposed to be like all love and light and like professing as such. But at least if you're going to gimmick it, be it, or at least fake it till you make it. You know what I'm saying? This is a sad sack of stories. You know what I'm saying? But I get it. I get it. It's hard in these spiritual streets. Watch you like a hurricane. The Temple Path. Dang, that Temple Path that we're all on. Yeah, so have you guys been watching the news? I haven't. Because you know what? I had to shut that shit off. I did a video yesterday that was so Debbie Downer about all the stuff that's going on. And I was like, you know what, peeps? It's about that time I gotta shut it off. Because I don't know who else has got a ticket to this carnival ride, Goddess of the Moon, because it's getting so crazy out there that I'm like, is this really what's going on? Did they just do a group chat on how they're going to bomb Yemen? Did they just call an election in Canada for a new prime minister so that we can find our Jesuit-ordered prince? That's a long story. That's what I was talking in the video. I might still post it just because I'm hella like, ugh, about everything that's going on. Did they just rip out the freaking Amazon so they could make a hefty highway for those that are going to a conference for saving the planet? Climate my ass. That's all I got to say about that. It was really disheartening. Really disheartening. But if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up. It's freaking bullshit, but hey. Next card is Archangel Uriel. This is the piece de resistance, le sept crown. We've got more chakras, but I keep focusing on the 7. You know, seven, heaven. It's to open us up. You know what I'm saying? Once we got all of those open, door to value. Look it. So we've got Temple Path. Okay. We've got Goddess of the Moon, Uriel, and we got door to value. So I know a lot of you are waiting for this money transfer thing. I don't really know about all that. I know I've got some really heavy-duty players on my stream, and I come from some pretty high lineages, but I still feel like it all has to do with us being able to manifest. And I feel like maybe when that second sun actually comes piercing through, we're all just going to become crystalline, and then we can make whatever we want happen. So maybe it has nothing to do with actual money. But who knows? I still have different commodities. I still have different things in play just in case. So I have some different cryptos, and I have some different like I have gold, I have silver, and I have some different currencies just in case. But I still feel like in my heart of hearts, it's going to be about us melting this veil down and us being able to manifest whatever we want. Just because LDO... Sorry, I don't want to dismiss you that way or regard you that way. But our father and mother are like mind blown. So it's like I can't put it past to something as simplistic as that. And at the same time, I could put it to something as naturalistic and simplistic as that. I don't know. But what I will say is I'm going to do some tarot to define all of these. So we got the Temple Path. Let's see what comes up for Temple Path. And thank you for being with me, because it's been a mighty long time since I've done a tarot or two. Oh my gosh, nothing wants to come out. Yeah, I've been playing around with these for years. There we go. Knight of Coins. Haha. So it's somebody who's going after their money. Because they're actually going after their own empire, because they're not at a stage where they're actually a king yet. So Goddess of the Moon, what is this pertaining to? Please, cards. We've got 10 of Cups. Ooh, so whatever is being hidden in the moon. And if you didn't know, we've had some lunar eclipses one after another. And realistically, I found them very revealing. I saw the blood red moon in Mexico. And I mean, maybe it's just because of where I was in Tulum. Very energetically beautiful place. 9 of Wands. You're combating. You're getting to your level of excellence, and you've combated your way out of it. Interesting. Door to value. So 5 of Swords. Ooh. So this is going to come at a cost. Whoever is getting to the door of value. Because the 5 of Swords kind of dictates that you've been in a place where you're constantly at odds with people. And you've been kind of on this tightrope of trying to keep the balance back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you've had to assail a lot of different persons to get to this level. And the same with the 9 of Wands, right? That's a lot of energy too, but it's like you're rising and you're actually combating, and everyone's beneath you. So you are getting to this apex point, and that's where 7th chakra, Uriel, comes into play. So let me see what I get from this. So the Temple Path, it's like you're weary. You've been going through a lot. You are the knight. You've been fighting. You've been a warrior for time. And the thing is that you're looking at your coins and you're like, this is what I need to develop oneself. But there is a side of you that knows that you are still hiding something. And it could be about a female, or it could be about a male. But in this instance, the Goddess of the Moon is saying that it's coming to an illuminative point. Because realistically, if you look at that moon, it kind of looks like it's going like the sun. So I would say that this 10 of Cups is like you getting to this final point where you actually get to the top of the stairs, where you actually get to touch and reach your love. It's funny we were talking about love, but the 10 of Cups is a very good representation of that, of getting to that final point or getting to that relationship. But I think it comes from a revealing. It could be a revealing of self. It could be a revealing from that opposite person. Because realistically, and this is something I'm also getting to, if this is like, let's say, a gentleman, right? He might have to give up money. Like, I have a feeling like, this is weird. I'm going by my intuition. It's like as if this guy's looking at his money and looking at you, looking at his money and looking at you. So it gives me the feeling like he has to decide if he's going to let that go in order to be with you. And that might be the sad truth that the two of you hold together. That could be the one thing that you're holding on to, and that could be the one thing that you're not willing to admit. So there's that. And what I will say about Angel Uriel here, she does represent the 7th chakra, your crown, but it's like she's looking off to the distance as if she's like, woe is me, where is my lover, or where's everything I'm looking for. She's holding a book and she looks very sentimental. So what I would say is that if this is representational of you getting to a point of where you're getting to your 7th chakra, because it is lonely at the top, and if you can see here, there is this man who has been fighting. So you've been warring not only yourself but your energetic levels to get to this apex at the top of the pyramid. So what I would say to that is, like, you finally feel like you're getting to that level, but you notice he's alone at the top too. So there's this feeling of being alone at the top. But the door to value, right? And value can mean anything. Value can mean love, family, prosperity in whatever form you see it, your goals being met, whatever the case may be. But in this case, they're putting it in all different formations of money. And it was funny how we were talking about different currencies, etc. And if you actually look at this, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's actually like American money. There is yen from what I can see. There's a little bit of French francs from what I can see, even though those would be euros. But there's also like Chinese dong there, or yeah, I don't know why I said dong, but that just comes to mind. But there's this feeling, like I was saying about these different currencies, but it's like we've had to be on this tightrope all this time trying to figure it out, especially if you are an energetic spiritual being. Maybe you started your own business, maybe you started your own path because you were on the temple path all this time. And you have to understand that a lot of us that are on the temple path, we may have to give up a lot, meaning in terms of like our 3D constructs of making money, and we had to try different things. And the thing is too, what you must understand is that when people watch you battling this, they're waiting for your demise. They're waiting for you to fall off that tightrope. That's why those two persons are there. They're waiting to take whatever you have. So the feeling I get from this is that because a lot of this, right, if you see, it's about choice. It's about fighting past. It's about elevating. And it's about finding the balance. I would say realistically, and what's interesting is you have all four. You have coins, you have cups, you have wands, you have swords. That means that you have actually mastered all of the elements to some degree, which is great. So that's why I think the last one you're getting is this balancer. So I feel like in this reading, not only are you mastering the path, you're mastering your oneness with self to get to that level of love that you've been waiting for. And also you've come to the illumination of the 7th chakra, which is your sovereignty and crown. And you're actually figuring out how to manifest and how to unravel all that those 4 elements provide in this construct. Because it's like manifestation has to come with a form of balance. You cannot just manifest when you're in a low situation or a low vibration. You have to kind of match what it is that you're after. You have to feel, like I said, worthy to even get what you're after. So there comes this thing where you fought and fought and fought and you've realized your sovereignty. So that's why I feel like the door to value, and it's not fully open yet, it's just opening for you. And it's after you've realized that you've balanced all of these elements for yourself. So that is the most prosperous message I can give to you guys today. And I know a little bit had to do with love, with life, with abundance. So that was all very beautiful to hear. And so I'll add that in for the video. So this was, let's talk about love. Let's talk about prosperity. Let's talk about spiritual oneness and coming together for a beautiful, beautiful next season of primavera, or of spring. So I hope we all spring forth together. Love you lots, guys. Bye.